Because the only other people that have this kind of freedom, like time-wise, is retired people. And all my friends have noticed that. They're like, wait a fucking minute. Like, why am I going to a cubicle? Like, now it's starting to set in. I'm like, yeah, why are you going to a cubicle? Maybe there's a different route.
You're listening to Board with Nelly.
V-Dog, Valerio, welcome to the Board with Nelly experience. You're my most decorated guest yet again. So kudos to you, my guy, for being a friend of mine that is willing to do this.
Wait, what do you mean again? Did someone overtake me at some point? I thought I was always the most recurring. Maybe JCC?
I think JCC because he was in on a few UFC style guests, which I had. But hey, fuck him. He's old news.
I'm back.
You're back. Today has been a tragic day in the world of Serbian sport. I watched 3 different events happen and we lost all of them. So I watched Kecmanovic lose to your boy Sinner. Then I watched Red Star lose to some team from fucking Maccabi, whatever the fuck that is. Then I watched Luka Doncic drop 34 on Serbia in like basketball. It's been a rough day, boss. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, I wish I could take credit for that Sinner win, but I had no idea they were playing. As for, I think the only bad one in that was probably the football loss. That sounds like the most brutal one.
Yeah. Football away, though, it was 3-2. So
what is this, like playoffs for what?
This is the final playoff for Champions League.
Ooh, yeah, so you guys can make it.
Yeah, going back home, just need 2. 1 to stay in it, 2 to win it. That's not... these guys weren't anything like special. It's just like, bro, they had a rowdy atmosphere. I'm not gonna lie. I've never even heard these boys, but full stadium. It was like 98 degrees in there. They were just getting rowdy as fuck.
Yeah. the home and away is huge, especially in August. August playoffs are always awkward as hell because no one's ready to play them, but you got to play them.
Right. But then when they get in, when the season starts, those teams that had those like playoff games, they're ready to go.
Yeah, but eventually it catches up, right?
And this year's the worst.
Yeah. Well, why? Because of the break that we're going to have?
Because the World Cup. Yeah, because of the World Cup.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. It's going to be so bad, bro. And the games are like in the afternoon. It's not even like evening games.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck, yeah. Yeah, being an Italian.
You, it's morning.
Well, hopefully, let's just pray to God I'm still not here, bro. I wake up every morning and I meditate. I pretend I'm not here. I'm in a different place. And for those 10 minutes, I'm not here. And then I wake up like, I'm still here. So, anyways, yeah, being Italian, though, during the World Cup, that's going to be an interesting one.
Dude, the last
boys are not in it.
2014 was the last time my country was in a World Cup. So, if I want to see my country in a World Cup, hopefully, assuming we qualify in 2026, it'll have been 12 years. Dude, that's a generation of kids who haven't seen their nation in a World Cup. The effects are terrifying, but I think the main takeaway here is not that Italy is, just this great nation that boycotts tournaments hosted by maybe potentially dubious countries. But
I was going to say, you didn't want to say it, eh? Okay.
But
potentially. Are you trying to get a ticket to Qatar, my guy? What the fuck? Just say it.
Nah, bro.
Just say it.
Zero interest. Like, I literally couldn't care less about it. I even do the Panini stickers every time. I'm not doing it. I haven't done them since 2014 because we don't qualify. Yeah. But no, I'm going to say this, and every time I say this, people like misinterpret it. But we deserve to be there. I'm sorry. It's a fact. We should be there. Look, 2 things can be true at once, right?
Yes.
We deserve to be there, but it's also our fault we're not. You can't have a World Cup without the champions of every continent. What kind of a tournament is this? What do you mean? You win the Europa League, you go to the Champions League, you win the Euro, which is not even a glorified Champions League. It's literally arguably harder than the World Cup, and you don't even get a place? but then the hosts get a place and they'll never qualify again. It's so stupid, bro. It's so
It is
stupid.
kind of a weird, yeah. I mean, it's so political, and you didn't want to go there, but I don't give a shit. That's the beauty of me. I'll go there. A few days ago, Qatar posted something about. I don't know if you saw this article. This was hilarious. Qatar posted occupied by Israel for instead of like Israel or some shit like that for like because of the Palestine thing. Like they're on the Palestine side.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that article. Like on the website
Oh yeah, I did.
for the ticketing, right? So you remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is a nation with slavery. What is going on? Like, I get it. You could sure pick a side, but like at the same time, it's not like we should be applauding these boys. Oh, look, these fucking heroes. They have a beautiful, strong message. Yeah, they also have slavery in 2022. And if you have sex during the fucking tournament, you're gonna go to jail for 8 years.
What?
You don't read all the rules for like Qatar?
I thought it was just alcohol.
Bro, I think if you have sex and it's not like your wife that you go to jail. I'm pretty sure this was insane. I'm gonna look this up. I don't have a Jamie. I can't fact check myself here. Qatar World Cup. This is a weird search. Sex jail ? LOL.
You need to hire your editor to sit on these calls and yo. Can you pull this up for me?
Pull this up for me, Jamie. Jamie, can you? I'll call him Jamie if it's not. Yeah. Okay, so sex ban at FIFA World Cup 2022. Football fans could face jail time for one night stand in Qatar. Are these really the champions? Are these the champions of fucking this message? Whatever your stance is, I don't give a shit. But like, are these the people that I want to be like my vocal points for some sort of political movement?
Yeah, I mean, these tournaments are getting dodgy because I don't remember the last World Cup where there wasn't some sort of controversy. So with 2018 and like 2022, with those being, I think they were assigned. 2018 was Russia.
Oh, Russia, yeah.
It was weird because I think those were assigned right before Bladder sort of dipped, and it kind of was like, well, we already gave them to them, and even though they bought it, you just kind of gotta go with it. But even in 2014, like, while you'll still, I remember there was a famous art piece that went viral or something. It was like there was a mural or something of a kid who was hungry, and in his plate, instead of food, in Brazil, they painted a football, right? Almost like an art piece to say, guys, fuck football, fuck all this money in these stadiums.
Right.
We're hungry. So I don't know, man. There's always this really dark side to all these FIFA tournaments, it seems.
It's so wild because football is such a universally loved sport, and there's so much like beautiful stories and positivities around it. There's so many characters. There's all this fun, and then you have this like very dark side of football where we go back to like fixed World Cups. We go back to like building stadiums in a country that literally can't support itself financially, like Brazil. And then those stadiums, like literally a month after the tournament, are in complete ruins because they built them in the middle of fucking nowhere. So like those that infrastructure, that money they put into it is just like, it's like a little cardboard stands. As soon as they leave, it just like falls over and there's no stadium there. Like, who's using a stadium in some remote Brazilian village, right?
Right. I mean, I think that's why I've enjoyed, not only because in the last like 12 years, Italy has done surprisingly well in all the Euros.
Yeah.
But that aside, I think the Euros are just like, I don't know, I wouldn't say better. I would still rather win the World Cup. I'm never going to say that, so. But like the Euro is so big, and it feels like a lot of the nations are always ready. Like if England could host it every single time and be perfectly prepared, obviously this time we
don't give them ideas, bro. Please, for the love of God.
No, but it's true. I mean, with the transport and the stadiums, so you hear less of these problems. But then in the World Cup, when it takes like a country, they could be shady, or sometimes they host it and they can't support themselves. It's awful, man.
Right. Who's the next bid for the next Euros? Do you know?
I think Germany's hosting the next one.
Next bid Euros. I'd love to see a little Balkan fucking Euros. Let's get Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, but let's get it. That'd be a fun one.
Don't you guys all have stadiums with tracks or no?
I think we do, but like I'm sure we can find fucking 5 stadiums to bring together, and if not, let's build one new one. Like if you can build 6 new stadiums in Brazil, why can't you bring one to fucking Bosnia? I don't know.
Yeah, they should do that. To be fair, they haven't done that.
That'd be fun. Like that'd be sick. Says that Romania, Greece, Bulgaria, and Serbia at the meeting in February 2019, like they were trying to make officially confirm these 4 countries would submit joint candidacy for Euro 2028 and FIFA World Cup 2030. That'd be sick.
Right.
Like maybe we can't do the Balkans because the Balkans, but if we can do those countries, like all those countries have at least 1 or 2 good stadiums each.
Yeah, I think 2024 is the Germany one then.
2024. It might be. Yeah. This is why I need a fucking Jamie. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's funny that Russia submitted a bid. You know,
That was absurd. That was
since me and you last talked about Russia, a lot has happened.
A lot has changed, man. A lot. I was actually talking about it with a friend of mine recently who I lived with in Russia, and we were both like, bro, it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Everything that went down, and it's just like it kills the appeal for all of us to ever go back there and whatever. We just like dissociate at this point from them, and it's like even the apparently all the international people who lived there, it was like a mass exodus of Moscow and stuff.
It's crazy.
So,
it's crazy.
Different.
The politics around sport today is probably like some of the worst it's ever been. Like every sport, like not just politics about the Russia thing, politics about like COVID, politics about, I don't know, fucking land disputes, certain countries not want to recognize other shit. I remember for the Russia thing, it's hilarious when they started banning like tennis players. Like I don't know if you've noticed, they've been banning a lot of like tennis players, and I don't understand what an individual fucking hitting a yellow fuzzy ball has to do with, you know, some dude invading a fucking another country. Like I honestly think like there should be a secondary podcast I should do. It's like Hypocrisy Hour, where like I just talk about every like hypocrisy. Like America has been in how many different nations? 30, like invaded 30 nations in our in our lifetimes, which is hilarious. There's never been a player we thought, oh, we should fucking ban, I don't know, John Isner from playing in Wimbledon. What's the difference?
Yeah, the Wimbledon thing was, I thought it was just a shame. I was like, where's Medvedev? And then someone told me, yeah, there's no Russian. I was like, what? Are you serious? My God. But the show idea reminds me of, have you ever seen Family Guy when he does Grinds My Gears?
That's Grinds My Gears. Oh my God, dude. I'd be that fucking asshole who gets pissed off every week at like some random. Because there's so much of it. Like I would have literally content for years to come. Like it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
One other thing we were talking about before that I wanted to discuss today is, you know, you got a little gig that you're working on, a little job. You're seeing how the sausage is made in the video game space, in the football video game space. How much can you talk about, you know, that kind of stuff? If not the specifics about the project, just like, you know, what it's like to work on something like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can say a lot. There's a lot I can say. Obviously, it's not like, you know, when you work with other companies, there's like, I'm not saying there aren't NDAs or things that's confidential, but I feel like a lot of times when you work with big companies, older companies, they're just so big, so old that it's hard to be allowed to do many things. Whereas with this current job, I have complete freedom, you know?
Right.
That's what I love about it. So basically, I mean, we just talked in so abstract. I work for...
This is my Joe Rogan moment. Hey, can you tell the audience about like what you're kind of doing a bit more?
Yeah. I mean, last time I came here, I was basically a full-time content creator.
Yeah.
Now I'm a part-time content creator, full-time game designer, I guess we can call it, video game designer.
Is that on the Bumble profile, or we'll talk to me? Come on.
It's a dangerous route. You say video game designer, then you're like, what kind of video game? You say football game, it's too much. We've already narrowed it down too much. You know what I mean? You know that iPad game which can guess anyone if you just...
Right.
Yeah. Like, I feel like if it could guess my job, by the time it says I'm a video game designer, what game, football, then it already says, oh, you're a goals employee. I'm like, fuck. You know, it's too much information.
Too close to home, man. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I work for Goals, which is, what are they doing? They're making a football video game, essentially. That's what it is. They're making a football video game. So it'll be a while, obviously, until it's fully out, but it's exciting. I guess it's everything I would have dreamed of in a video game to come out when I was only making content, because let's face it, FIFA is not getting any better. It will not get better. The direction they're going, just as every game, is further from what I like.
Right.
Whether that is right or wrong, who am I to say? I just know I don't like it. eFootball, I don't know, man. They're all sim-based games. We're not making a sim. We're making
Interesting.
a competitive, fun, fast-paced game, which
I love
ironically is
that. That's way
probably,
better.
yeah, and it's probably going to respect the game of football more in the sense that, while it's fast and fast-paced and arcadey, we will not have something, at least I hope, like the El
Yeah.
Tornado
Yo,
meta
someone's gonna
develop.
clip this, and, like, you're gonna make it into a compilation. You know how they did for FIFA, like when like Corey used to say something about the game, and then like it would jump cut to like the game being abysmal.
Yeah. Well, look, at the very least, then it would get patched. But like, so long as I'm involved, I will always push for things like, I don't know, an El Tornado meta being the best way to score, or canceling skill moves. No, it's gonna be
For people
fast
that don't
but real.
understand, not like game breaking glitches that are easily executable or things that kind of go outside the realm of reality. That's what FIFA does. Like a lot
Which
of
is
the time.
ironic, right?
Yeah.
Because they make this base game slow and heavy to say, oh, because we're a sim-based game, and then they add these weird gimmicky features which pretty much destroy any realism in sim. So I'm like, you may as well have just made an arcade game at that point. Like, what's the point of having such a sim-based, boring, slow base, which some people are into that, fine, but then sprinkling on top these mechanics which ruin the balance and pretty much make it not realistic at all. So I don't get it.
What's the there's quite a few questions I can ask you here. I guess the first one is there an inspiration when you guys are are you looking at old PES games? Are you talking about that kind of stuff when you're making it?
We're looking at everything, bro.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything,
So
yeah.
everything. Obviously, a lot of the people working on the game have the knowledge or a past with a lot of the older games. So we know a lot of people know the direction we want, but at the
Right.
same time, we have, we're working on Unreal Engine. We have better things to work with. So obviously, that's the inspiration, but it's hopefully going to be a product worthy of 2020, whenever it releases. So it's going to be better. But the foundation is that, fast, simple, user decision is king, because at the end of the day, if you pass into me, I'm going to intercept it. And if you're not there to cut the passing lane, the pass is going through. Like simple fundamentals that make it a user-based decision game
Right.
for football.
Right. For people that might not understand like how bad FIFA has gotten, it's like the point. Like it's gotten to a point where the most basic stuff feels at times randomized. Like things that should almost never be randomized have become randomized, and that's in a sense opened the game up for absolutely anyone because the skill level or skill gap is deteriorated. But in another sense, it's made a horrendous pile of garbage that you can't play for a long period of time if it's something you want to invest your time into.
It's really difficult. If you do, I mean, I guess there's actually a lot of younger players now who have never seen a FIFA prior to like FIFA 20, maybe. So to them, this is all they know, and it's just the reality they live in. So they adapt really well. But in terms of people my age group, and even not even younger than me, but that did play the older games, I've seen a lot of people dwindle out, and it's because of what you said. So just everything is backwards. If you have a clear cut open passing lane, for some reason it doesn't work. But then if a pass is completely blocked, for some reason the game assists it to make it happen. And so user decision making is all out the window. And so you might be answering, but then how's it possible for the best players to always win? Well, that's where those gimmicky mechanics come in. If the foundation is RNG and you can't do anything about it, what's going to push the game on your side and make you win games consistently are these new gimmicks, maybe a broken mechanic that gets you a goal every time from a certain position, breaks the game, that glitches through players, stuff like that. And so that's where the best players can really abuse the skill gap that there is. But that's the problem. The skill gap is in areas that shouldn't exist. And the areas that should have the skill gap are fully
It's not there.
randomized so that you pick it up and you can have a good time with someone who's never played it, you
Right.
know? Because essentially you're a spectator, but that kills the game for a hardcore player like myself.
It's weird. It's kind of like picking up like Mario Party, but Mario Party does it in the most perfect way where you do want that randomization and like pretty much almost 90% of the game to be determined by luck because that makes it fun. But then if you take a mechanic like that or a thought process like that into a competitive football game, it's like this is unplayable. This is stupid. This makes no sense.
Yeah, it's interesting though that you say competitive because honestly, like even before they pushed a lot of the competitive scene within their like Ultimate Team trading card game mode. Even then, it was just it's still. I've never seen people so more angry than when they play FIFA. I feel like FIFA couch play or online play, people just get super triggered when they lose. And to me, it just comes down to the fact of how RNG it is. I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've seen casuals play tournament and the guy who's losing looks like he just saw a ghost. I mean, like he could be at a party or whatever. He's so upset. And I think part of it has to do with like maybe it's football and football fans, they can't take a loss. But also at the same time, I do think it comes to the RNG element that FIFA has always had. Like throughout the years, a bullshit loss, you've heard that forever in FIFA.
Yeah, it's like such a meme in the community, and every year the videos are the same. Well, not the same, but like the glitches are always fucking crazy. Like you would think after 7 years of in a row they could release one trailer without any bugs in it, like as their main selling tool for and nope. There's the middle of the thing. There's a guy standing doing the cross fucking in the middle of the. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see this year's, to be honest.
Oh, you didn't see it, dude. So in the middle of the trailer, there's like action scenes going on, whatever, passing, and then like for a good solid 2-3 seconds, in the background, there's a guy just standing like this, not moving, frozen. I'm doing the Jesus fucking cross thing for anyone listening. Yeah, like he's not moving, and it's in the launch trailer that has 4-point-something million views. Like, how is anyone going to be optimistic if you can't even fix the glitches in the like polished cinematic of the game?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, those glitches just have me laughing. I would take those glitches any day of the week if the actual gameplay was
right.
fine. But it's
funny that you have to make that trade off. Even this is by the way, this is a really fucking ambitious project because this is one of the most monopolized genres in gaming. So without being disrespectful here, how the fuck are you guys gonna have any say in this space? When it comes to actual, marketing, licenses, like, do you feel like that's the bigger hurdle than actually making the game itself? Maybe that's a stupid question.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the phrases that I always hear within the, well, actually, before that, you did mention licenses. Did you know though that we don't need licenses?
Oh, because it's not a realistic.
We're not using real players. I don't know.
Sneaky boys, I like that.
Yeah, the game design reveal. We pretty much revealed that our players are randomly generated players. And look, what I love about the game is that at the end of the day, we're gonna die. We're gonna succeed or die by the gameplay because that's what it all comes down to for us. If the game is fun, it'll be great. If not, it won't. Which is what I like, because a lot of people are skeptical. And I understand the being skeptical, but I mean like skeptical because of the technology that the game wants to use, right? So the game wants to use a lot of Web3 technology, and it wants to give you your assets in terms of NFTs. The problem is that when you say those words, people panic and they're like scam, 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 scam. But like all it means is that everything you own is yours. There's not like an NFT, there's not like a picture that's going to come out, or there's not a token to buy into. It's
not like that Klaus Schwab. Have you ever seen that Klaus Schwab guy from the World Economic Forum?
No.
He's like, these guys creep me the fuck out, bro. These guys are like villains in the real world. It's like one video they're talking about, it's like, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Like,
what is that?
Yeah, like they're like that's like their objective, like mission statement for the World Economic Forum. Like these guys are literally like Dr. Evil, but in the real world. Like he's got this he's a Swiss guy with his like thick kind of Germanic accent, and he's like 80,000 years old. It's like, you will own nothing and you will be happy. You're gonna give people everything. They're gonna own everything in the game, is what you're saying.
Exactly, but people hear NFT and they think that we're selling some sort of token or some idea. Or no, look, you can play the game and completely ignore the fact that you can sell your items. We're just making the fact that any item you earn, like any player you earn, you can make money off of because you can sell him. It's like, imagine you play.
CSGO kind of thing, kind of like a CSGO skin thing. I don't know if you know much about CSGO,
Well, I know they did have skins, right?
but they don't have any like elements that would make you like pay to win. It was just more cosmetics and stuff like that.
Right,
And
right.
they have a shop within Steam. Like, oh, if you have this cool fucking AK-47 skin, you could sell it for like if it's hyper rare, you
Yeah,
can sell it on their marketplace.
except ours is even better because you cannot buy packs. Like, you can't. The only way to generate a player is to play.
Right.
So you can't. And and if you're gonna buy a player on the market because you think he's amazing, well, you're paying someone else for it, right?
Mm,
So you're not buying it off an in-game store. You're not buying it off of us, and you can't be lucky. I mean, you're gonna have to have luck to generate a good player, but the luckiest people are most likely going to be the best people because the best people are going to generate the most players, right?
right. It's gonna be
So
earned.
yeah, everything's earned,
Yeah.
and then if you want to play and earn your it's pretty much play to earn. You
Right.
just earn your players. Now, if you want to sell your players to other users, fine. If you don't, okay, then ignore everything. You don't have to, and you ignore and you just play it how it is. It's essentially like a mix. It takes like that element of Football Manager where you constantly generate players,
Yeah.
mixes other games where you can sell them and you are selling them, but you can choose to keep them and ignore the whole interacting with other users thing and just do your own thing. It's so free. The design is so free that there's literally nothing you have to do. The goal is to make it as seamless as possible. So like you don't have to create any wallet. It's just all there in game, super easy, and you go with it. But people obviously when they hear those words right now, it's bad, which is also I guess a good thing that we are releasing later because maybe by then it'll be
Or it's
less
worse. There's even
less
more It's just there's a lot of NFT scams and you hear a lot about tokens, crashing, and obviously you're either one of two. You're one of two people. You're like, oh, NFTs are the future. There's a lot of potential, or you're like, oh, NFT. I heard that shit's a scam, and like I don't feel like there's almost no middle ground. I'm kind of in the middle. Like I don't know where it's gonna go. I'm not like trying to push one idea or the other.
Yeah, it's just NFT for us. All it means is that it's a player is a non-fungible token. As in, there's only one of that. He's yours. If you want to keep him, great. If you want someone else wants him, I guess you can listen to offers, and that's that. That doesn't. But they have their utilities, and that's how you play the game. Those you're using those players.
And you've obviously talked to some of the people running this thing. Did this idea? Because I remember even when this was announced a few years back, did a lot of this idea stem from people that really were tired of FIFA and the product they were releasing every year and the monopoly they had over the football, and essentially this is why they have this mission to make a game that's completely different and doesn't follow those pack bullshit rules that EA does.
Yeah, I think it was the CEO Andreas. He had a thread when he announced it, and he was like, it was pretty much, well, why don't we just build our own? And that's how the idea came about it.
He's like Elon.
And
Why don't we just build a
yeah,
tunnel under LA?
and that's where the idea came from. Like, I think the whole Web3 aspect of it is just right place, right time because that's the technology we have now. But I think
Right.
the core driver of everything was always let's build our own fun, great football game.
Right.
Where we don't have pressures to make it noob friendly or this friendly, or we don't have to have things that whether or not they exist or not, things like handicap and momentum, right? I'm not saying they
Yeah.
exist. I'm just saying you create a game where it's not even a question of whether they exist or not. It doesn't. It's just try to make it as skill based as possible for a football game.
Yeah, that's pretty. You don't have to worry about the legality of that statement because I've already said like on my videos that I had a video that was like a poll that like asked people if they believe it like in handicaps or whatever. Well, and there's another word for it. What scripting? Fucking
Momentum, scripting, yeah.
scripting. And the poll before they removed the poll feature was 95% said yes out of 20,000 votes of the people that watched that video. And then that was the reason apparently that video was unable to be posted in the EA forums. That 13 seconds of that 42-minute video that took me 3 months to make was like, hey, yeah, we can't post that. It's like, bro, scripting is like the original COVID. Like, you can't say it. Don't say the C word. You get demonetized. Yeah.
I feel like the fact that so many people accept it as a normal thing is a testament to the state of the like the user experience within FIFA,
Right.
because even if it's not true, that's not the point. The point is that I feel like you shouldn't focus, if you're trying to defend that game, you shouldn't focus on whether it is true or not. You should focus on why so many people think it is.
Right. What, are we all under some mass hypnosis? Like, is that what's happening? Like,
Well, I'm not saying people are right because most think it. It's just
right.
it just goes to show how RNG unbalanced the game is, right? So it seems scripted.
We've always talked about this. We've talked about, like, what does it matter what we call it? Whatever this is not right. I think that was the biggest thing me and you always talk about. We always like, why is everyone so focused on like this word? When the reality is, like, you could just play the game and know, like, holy shit, this is garbage. Whatever you want to call this garbage, use whatever word you want. It is that, okay? Like, I don't care what the reason is. We should fix whatever this is.
Yeah, so much semantics in the FIFA community, and like dealing with a lot of the people who, it's almost like just to get themselves in, they'll want to worry about a technicality, and you have to think about every word. And don't get me wrong, it's in any area of life, it's important to be accurate and clear and whatever. But at a certain point, you're just nitpicking, I feel like, and especially because a lot of the people who were nitpicking about the wording probably also didn't like the game. Then you also had the ones who were nitpicking but also thought nothing was wrong, and that's a different discussion altogether.
Right.
But in general, like, you're spot on. Who cares what we're saying?
Right.
Something's not right.
Right. Are you also involved for this game? Are you involved in the content element of it, or is it just strictly gameplay? This is how the game should flow. This is how player touches should be. This is how, etc. should be. Or are you actually giving them ideas? Hey, this would be some cool content. Like, we need to think about longevity, because that's a massive part of the ecosystem in FIFA. It's like that yearly longevity.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The best part of going in early or being a part of it early is that although you have, game designer and covers a wide area of areas of the game, but in general, you get to have a say in everything. So anytime you have a sort of any idea, or you can help brainstorm, chuck an idea in there on the table, you have the opportunity to do so, and that's exciting. So there's when it comes down to it, I could help out with that. I could help out with literally everything. That is obviously in my capabilities, but in terms of brainstorming ideas and direction, everything is on the table. These days I've been working on tons of things that haven't nothing to do with gameplay.
Interesting.
Just the modes, how we want the game to be. Imagine how fun it is to create a mode from scratch, right?
Right. So many cool ideas. And do you ever contact other people, like contact JCC? Hey, bro, we want to make pro clubs. What do you think the best version of pro clubs looks like?
No, that's definitely someone that eventually, if he's down, we'll definitely
my two most decorated guests. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me.
No, but for certain people, because obviously the pro club scene is not something that everything else I'd be perfectly well versed in, but picking someone else's brain is always great. That's another cool part of the project, is that the community is so involved. There's like a Discord, and people always give suggestions. And the important part is not how good a suggestion is, how bad it is. It's just that they keep coming, because you never know if you read something and it inspires something else.
Sure.
And we've reiterated, like, the way cards are generated and the system we have now, we're so happy with it. And it all came about because people weren't happy with the previous one. And we spent like a month going back and forth until we were inspired and came out with the most recent one. So, and that was all thanks to like the back and forth. So obviously, anytime there's a possibility to talk to someone, 100%.
Right. And have you guys gone like gung-ho on marketing and stuff, or like you're so far away from it right now, you're just focused on making the game? Is this just, we're so early in this thing, right?
Yeah, there is a marketing team, and they are pretty active on social medias. I think there's an interview with PK that came out recently.
That's sick.
Because
he's involved.
He's involved. So I think there was an interview with him.
Remember, PK was involved in Konami, right, as well? They were doing tracking. Why is PK the fucking guy for this shit?
He loves it, man.
He loves it, yeah, clearly. Especially after that little scuffle my guys had in the last few. Anyways, jumping into something else. Another thing that we kind of talked about, I do just use the podcast for me and you to vent and talk about random shit. We were talking a little bit about like what the next thing is, like purpose, the side hobby to the side business to the side business. You've been working remote. I've been working remote. It's been a weird lifestyle shift for me, at least. You've been probably remote way fucking more. So how's that element of your life going?
Dude, it's so weird, right? Because obviously sometimes I get caught up in thinking, okay, what about after this? What about after this? You know,
Sure.
this is like a X amount of year project. And even though you're an employee, I mean, as an employee, maybe you work even when the game is out. And then when the game's out, maybe it's so good that I want to go back into content creation alongside. Imagine being someone who made the
Right.
game and your creator. Like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's possible. Like, there's no limits to, like, I'm allowed to do that, obviously.
This could be your ninja Fortnite moment, TBH. You just need to dye that hair blue, my guy. You already got
Right,
the hair.
but I'm not gonna lie. Like maybe imagine we also make the perfect game, and I just dip. I'm like, peace. I just
I'd love
leave
to see it.
the
I'd love
scene,
to see. That'd be
drop the
fun.
mic, the best game ever, and I'm just like, I'm out. You know?
And you gotta retire a hero, bro. I mean, what the hell? Yeah, that'd be fire.
Yeah, but I've been actually, dude, I've been doing this for years, not years. I'd say months. Like I'm trying to figure out. I wouldn't call it my calling,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, because I feel like I've heard a lot of people say there's curiosity at the most basic level, and then
Mm-hmm.
curiosity can turn into a passion,
Okay.
and then a passion can then turn into like a purpose, right? So curiosity would be the most, like maybe you hear about a fun fact of science and you're curious about it, but then you read into it and it ends there because you realize if you want to go deeper, you're not willing to put the hours in, right? And just
Right.
the final level is when you find something that you're curious about, you're passionate about, and to become amazing at it or well versed in it, you have no issues going through the thick of it and doing all the
Sure.
work. So imagine your passion is like I don't know. Let's say it's like football, super basic, right? You're curious about football, you're passionate about football, you're a young boy. Are you then so passionate that becomes your purpose and you're willing to sacrifice your social life and work out and train to become a pro, like Cristiano Ronaldo training? And if the answer is yes, okay, great. But for most people, the answer is no. No one's willing to be a
Right.
psycho like Ronaldo and
Oil
you know.
his abs 4 times a day.
Yeah, like the craziest shit. So this goes for everything. And so like I feel like the only way to find out is to find everything you're curious about, go for it. And if it ends early because you realize you're not willing to grind for it, then don't
That's
be
not
upset.
wasted time, right? You've checked one off the list. Like, okay, next.
Yeah. Because we all love many different things, and I'm sure you would know more than anybody. But like, for example, imagine you had a YouTube channel only about tennis, and then at a certain point you realize I
Right.
can't be asked to make tennis content. You know,
Right.
at least you know that's not it. But
I get what you're
it's just a
saying.
matter of finding everything until you find the one thing that you're like, dude, I'm willing to wake up at 6 a.m. before work and work on this.
Right. And you haven't
and once
found that.
Yeah, and I'm not worried.
Did you have moments though? Sorry to interrupt you. Did you have moments though when you really loved FIFA when you were willing to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so that you were kind of there, but then
I was there.
Unbeknownst to you, you didn't know the next 5 years of the game were going to get progressively worse. It's like imagine if Ronaldo said, "Yeah, I love fucking football," and then like he turns 18 and it becomes the world's most corrupt game where he literally can't step on the pitch, and he's like, "Okay, I don't like this shit anymore."
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not a good metaphor, but fuck, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was in that stage for like less than a year. Let's be honest, right? Because
Okay, yes.
FIFA 18 came out, it was like the beginning of the end, right? It was all for us, all of us. We did a podcast together back in the day.
Shout
we all
out
felt
to
it.
Foot
Right?
FM. Yeah.
So, I mean, if things would have gone better from 17 onwards, I don't think I would have had any issues. But that's not what happened. So that was that was rough, but
Right.
it led me here. So I'll take it. You know, I
You're
got
on the
a
most
job
prestigious podcast on the planet, brother. Yeah, you fucking best believe you're in the right place.
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
No, but I'm in the same. I was in the same place as you. Realistically, there was that like couple year stretch, or maybe a year, whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. From 2013 when I first played FIFA to when I first started making videos, and like a year or 2 years into the videos, like there was a time where I loved it like I would say, yeah, fuck, if I could do this for a living, this would be awesome. But then gradually the game got worse. I'm like, this is not going to be it. There's no way this could be it because this is horrendous.
Yeah, but that's it. But you see, you know exactly what it feels like because you were grinding content, man. You know how hard it is to grind content before you know how to make content? You have to buy the gear, learn editing, concepts, scripting, and then you're so shit at the start because you don't know how to make it succinct and short.
Yeah, you're awkward in front of camera, your audio sucks, like your videos are kind of ass, like.
But you don't care. You go.
Right, you go.
And you keep going. And then you get good. And then eventually you're able to make, like when you one of your last videos was like what? A documentary style that you were inspired by other people who did critiques. And so you took all the skills you learned in video editing and scripting and speeches and cutting and editing. And then you looked at what others did in critique, and in one go, you made a video that went viral, right? So you had the skill set, but the problem is you lost a passion for it.
Yeah, so. That's that mic drop moment. It's what you were talking about. Like, to me, that's the perfect video. I'm like, I'm out. I got nothing else to do here. Like, this is what are we doing? Like, it's not going to get better.
Right. But if you would have loved it, let's live in a reality where you would have loved it every second of the way. You'd probably still be doing it now, and you'd probably be successful doing it now.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It died because you didn't care anymore.
It's a curveball. Threw me a curveball. Yeah.
I definitely think you would have, if you loved it, you would have definitely been successful because of how creative you were, and eventually you would have, like a format or something of yours would have gone so viral that it would have been your moneymaker essentially on your YouTube channel.
Well, it's really interesting. That's how I look at this current process of almost starting from nothing again, right? I remember even my cousin was asking me, and he was kind of like saying, if the podcast, doesn't do well, or let's say hypothetically it's not doing well, how many years would it be till you kind of gave up on it? Something like that. Or like, let's say with the YouTube channel, like I don't have that. Now I have jobs that are related to YouTube, but like my own YouTube stuff is like, I don't touch it nearly as much. But he was basically saying to me, like, how many years would it hypothetically take for me to quit? And I was like, that's not even a thought in my mind. Like, this is closest thing I have to a passion. So like, that's not the way I think about it at all. The way I think about it is like, 2 years in, 3 years in, it doesn't really matter. I'm doing it. I have the freedom to do it. I have the financial means to do it. And I enjoy doing it. So it's like, fuck it. I'll keep doing it for another 10 years. I don't care if it takes 20 years to pop off. Like, it's not going to stop me from doing it, essentially.
That's beautiful. And remember the audiobook I sent you the other day? What was it called? It's All in Your Head by Russ.
Yeah.
That's literally what he says. He says he was like, trust the what, fuck the when. And then and remember the why. So trust the what is your passion. You just trust it. You say fuck the when as in fuck thinking about when it's going to pay off, because it may never pay off. It might pay off, but you have to say fuck that, because if you're enjoying it, it's going to happen. And it might not happen now. It might happen when you're 50 or 60, but it'll happen eventually, because if it's something you can keep on working on day after day without thinking about that, you're not even thinking about the when, which is what I'm looking for myself. Something that makes me not think about the when. I'm just doing it.
Just come in and do it every day, and not even like I get what you're saying.
So that's what he was talking about as well in that audiobook, which is I thought it was amazing. I love that audiobook. And it looks like you found it in one form at least.
I think I don't know if I found it, but I'm as close as I've ever been. So like, I don't know what it's been a weird couple of years. Let's just say that, because like I always have felt a little bit in the last couple of years that I'm just like 1 or 2 steps ahead of the curve. So like when I finished university and finished engineering, I had maybe a year of experience, and I was already like, man, this isn't looking great. Like I was already kind of like having these doubts and thoughts. And that was at a time when some of my friends were finishing university, or sorry, like midway through their engineering program. They were like so excited to get engineering. And I was already like throwing up I don't know if you watch fucking American football. I was throwing up the yellow flag. I'm like, boys, let me have a chat with you for a sec here. I don't know if this is it. Like, I'm already like 3 or 4 steps ahead of you, and I think there's a massive fucking cliff coming down. Just letting you know, I haven't found it yet. It's there, but keep your eyes out. So anyway, a couple of years of experience goes by. Obviously, this is fucking like brutal and it's boring. It has no creativity. It's dead. these people are just finishing university. They're just about to start their jobs. They're telling me about it. They're excited. I'm like, okay, I did warn you. So I skedaddled the fuck out of there. I switched careers. I went into like digital marketing, which for me I think is more enjoyable. Content creation, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Remote work. Big fucking asterisk next to remote work. They get into engineering. I'm enjoying the remote work elements. I don't know if I've told you about this. It's been so fucking weird doing remote work and having your own time. Like when I go for runs, I will never see anyone even remotely close to my age. Like only double my age will like when I go for runs, go swimming, because the only other people that have this kind of freedom, like time-wise, is retired people. And all my friends have noticed that. They're like, wait a fucking minute. Like, why am I going to a cubicle? Like, now it's starting to set in. I'm like, yeah, why are you going to a cubicle? Maybe there's a different route. So some of them have asked me, like, oh, how do you get to remote work? And I've been able to help my friend who's my editor. Like, he's landed 2 remote jobs. Like, he's actually now fully switched from biology to video editing. It's hilarious. So now the next step, I think, at least for me, what I've noticed is it's not to have a boss. So once I figure out how to do my own thing, self-sufficient, yeah, of course you're going to have a boss. If let's say you have advertising on video, you're going to have some level of people you need to be accountable for, but it's not like you have a real job with a real boss. You're going to have the audience as your boss. So that's my next big hurdle, I think, at least, while all of the other people are now just starting to find a way into the remote work. So when they get into remote work and they get a boss, and then they're like, you know what, even remote work is, some of them might be happy with where that road ends. Like, this is amazing. Like compared to, cubicle job, this is unbelievable. But I'm going to be like, there's one more level to that video game, my guy. If you want to entertain me here, you want to get to the next one. The next one is to not have any boss and just be your own fucking thing.
You're spot on. I was actually going to say that in between while you were telling your story, but it's true. Like you figured out, you said it perfectly, the next level. And, I think we're both in that sort of halfway point where we don't hate our jobs at all.
No, not even remotely close. I love it.
Sometimes, yeah, I love my job as well. But long term, I'm thinking I don't plan on, I plan on living more than the next 5 years anyway. So like
world economic events that are happening right now around us.
Yeah, exactly. So when you start thinking about the time frame and all that, you think you need something more long term, and you don't want to go back. We found a way to have some sort of skill set that you're still able to be employed remote, and it's flexible and this, and you have a really weird resume. Super weird.
Super odd. Super odd.
But it works. But the thing is, at a certain point, you need to figure something out because you don't want to risk taking a step back.
No, of course.
Take a step back, yes. I feel like that would be terrifying.
It would be physically impossible. Like if you said today you've just lost a remote job, you got to go back to the cubicle, I'd find the nearest bridge and I just fucking, like the like animated like feathers when I hit the water, like. There's no way. You can't convince me to go back into a cubicle. Like there's absolutely it would have to be like retirement money in a year. Like I honestly can't see myself doing it. Like the freedom I have, like today I was able to watch fucking a football game and a tennis match. There's no fucking hours I have to clock in. I have projects I have to do. I do them and that's it. Like it's pretty straightforward. And people don't understand even that's a possibility. Some of them like probably hearing this for the first time, like, what? You watched what?
It's honestly even as like simple as saying, oh, it's Tuesday morning, I forgot I don't have any food, but I can go to the grocery shop right now, get that food, then start working, as opposed to, oh no, it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get in the metro, go to work, and then I'm going to get in the metro back. I'll be home at 6:30, sweaty, and then I can finally get my groceries. No, you can get them. Like even such a small detail. Right, you can do your groceries.
You don't feel like you're burdened in a cage as much. That's what it is. You know what it is? It's you don't feel like you're. When you go to an office, you're there 8 hours, whether you like it or not. Barring some sort of crazy event, you're there for 8 hours, and that, in my mind, is like, well, 8 hours of focus. Am I like how? How does anyone even do that? Like, I don't even know how the hell I did it. Like, it seems so ridiculous at this point.
It doesn't happen. It's not, no one works 8 hours a day. It's just the whole process takes a lot of time between the commute. You get there, the small talk, you work a couple hours, then it's lunch, then it's post lunch coffee, a couple bit more talking, and then it's like, okay, 2 p.m.
You're on your browser
Work,
checking Amazon a little bit, like.
yeah, you sneak in 1, maybe 2 hours of work. At best, you've worked 4 hours maximum. There's no fucking
As an
way.
Italian man, you are so fucking spot on. Every other Italian in the chat right now is like, fucking yes.
No, but even
Grazie.
even
Grazie.
4 in the cubicle world is a lot of hours. All right. But to clock those 4 hours in, it
Yeah.
takes away like 8 or 9. That's the
Right.
difference. That's the difference. No one works 8 hours a day, man. I don't believe it.
This is on my second channel. I'm actually working on a bit of a longer form video. It's about remote work because I've over the past month or so been collecting articles about remote work, and it's the theme of the video is going to be like mainstream attack on remote work, because some of these articles that have come out have been so hilarious that this needs to be a video. Like, I need to find a way to compile a video and make this. Like, I'm talking about like absolute ludicrous headlines. Like the one that I'm going to mention in the video is my husband. This is the fucking headline. My husband's stay-at-home job has made me lose all respect for him. And the article, essentially, here's what happens. The article says, this is a lady that wrote into this website, my husband is working from home for the past year, and he's not really a good influence on the kids because he works like 2 hours a day, right? So this is the, and it keeps going. It's like, oh, also like he has 6 hours essentially of free time, but he doesn't help me with any of the chores. Like, he doesn't do anything with the kids. So essentially, they've disguised the headline as like this attack on remote work, when the article itself is like attack on this horrendous human being who's just been exposed by the fact that he's remote working now.
So basically, the only problem with remote work is that it's going to expose you as a shitty person.
Yeah, I was
Right?
like, what? How is this remote work? So like, dude, go see a marriage counselor. What do you fucking like? What is wrong with you? He was a piece of shit before.
Yeah, you should thank remote work, because
Yeah.
imagine finding this out when he's retired and it's too late.
The guy was
Welcome,
probably spending
boy.
6 hours at the office doing fuck all, but now he's at home when he actually can help you out. He's choosing not to do. He's even a bigger asshole than than he was before.
It's comedy. It's comedy how they don't even see it as well.
It's gonna be a good video. I'm looking forward to that one. Another thing that I guess on this subject is finances. I think this is another thing that I didn't really believe till I figured it out kind of myself. About a year and a half ago, I talked to this chick that had her own Fiverr thing, and she fucking is a millionaire from Fiverr essentially. Yeah, she literally she grew a fucking Fiverr that has like 1.2 million in earnings, and she quit her job and obviously did that full time. She writes like articles for product reviews, stuff like, it's crazy. She's single if you're interested. Anyways, I was trying. So what she told me, she's like, when you stop actually caring about like how much you're gonna make a lot more than how much you will when you do care. If that makes sense. Like, once money isn't the focus of your kind of motive, your success, your drive, money actually comes a lot easier when you're fully devoted into that thing that you love doing, and that you're going to put in 110% into, if that makes sense.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's true, but it's like it's a prerequisite, but not a guarantee.
Yeah.
So you need it, and that's all you need to worry about. So get that thing through your head, and you need it, but don't get mad when it doesn't happen. It might be something else.
Or it might take you longer. Here's another thing. Like you said, it might take you, like you said, it might be a long time from now. However, when you do reach that moment and you've actually surpassed what you were doing before, well, now you're in an even better position, because now you're doing something you love way more, and you're making better money for doing what you love more. So it's like this euphoria that comes in with that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think an important thing about, or at least I don't know, but I'd like to imagine this, because I wouldn't know because I haven't figured out myself. But when we say forget the when, it's also because through doing something, hopefully you learn from it, and eventually by doing that thing, it led you to pivot once, twice, three times into something that eventually does work, right? So a lot of people will get to whatever work and they'll think, man, I wish I found this sooner. And they don't realize though that the only reason they found it was because they were doing the wrong thing 3 months
Yes.
earlier, right? So it's never a waste of time, but you got to start doing something to find the pivot, or else you'll never find the pivot.
Well, it's like a tennis player on tour, let's say in his early 20s, just getting destroyed by everyone fucking there. And then, at 25, you hear this guy out of nowhere. Oh, he's in the semifinals of like the French. Oh, this guy's out of nowhere. Well, he's not out of fucking nowhere. He's just spent the last 6 years eating dick. And now he's figured out whatever that last, thing is. Maybe it was a mental element. Maybe he figured out how to do a better second serve, whatever that thing that took him to the next level. It took him this process to get to that.
Yeah.
And that was worth it.
It was like earlier you mentioned Ninja. Ninja didn't become rich overnight. Before he was, by the time Fortnite came out, he would have been like what, close to his 30s. And
true. Yeah, he's that old?
He would have been high 20s at least, right? Close to his 30s.
31,
and 10 years of gaming. I mean, we're talking years and years of doing LAN Halo tournaments.
Yeah.
Where you need $200 to share a hotel with 10 dudes, So, but people only saw the last 6 months. They're like, oh, that was so quick. But behind those 6 months, there's like 10 more years of pure passion in a space that was honestly tiny when he first started.
Yeah.
But it slowly, and what was most interesting with him was like, there was actually a point within Fortnite where he was about to quit Fortnite at the start, because at the time he was a streamer for
Halo.
What was that other one? What was that other? No, there was another battle royale. It was either H1Z1 or PUBG. Yeah, and he was like, guys, I ain't getting subs when I'm not playing PUBG. So either you guys sub to me or I'm quitting Fortnite. Right?
That sounds like something you would say.
And people were subbing. And that's that. But if that hadn't happened, he would have left that Fortnite train too. It was that close.
It's wild because there's also, like, if you want to look at it from another perspective, there's something called survivor bias, whatever. I can't remember if we talked about this. You'll only see what survives, essentially. Like, you'll only hear the stories of the survivors. You won't hear about, the failed attempts, the countless of thousands of people that have gone into it and had a completely opposite outcome to their grinding or whatever it might be.
That's true. That's the devil's advocate approach. But here's the devil's advocate to the
devil's advocate. Wow, a double devil.
All right. The devil's advocate is, I'm sure there's merit and there's truth in some of them, or maybe most of them. But I also feel like a lot of people who fail will not tell that story to 100% of the truth. You know what I mean? Like, are they saying that they really went after it? Did they do absolutely everything possible, or were they kind of half-assing it and it wasn't really something they were truly passionate about? Because if they were, they wouldn't have half-assed it, So it's like, I feel like some people who would fail would be inclined to almost be bitter about it and try and be the Debbie Downer, be like, guys, life is hard. It's not going to work out. Be the grumpy guy and be like, just go in your cubicle sort of thing, because he failed, right? So I think in everything, you just got to take good and bad with a pinch of salt and just.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does you no favor to agree with anyone like that, essentially. Like, what do you actually legitimately have to win by agreeing with someone that is that negative or that?
I guess peace of mind, like the peace of mind of knowing if you're like worried about it. I guess the peace of mind of saying, at least there's nothing I can do, and you be stoic about it and you just move on with it. But essentially,
it's funny, yeah.
There's nothing to lose.
I mean, it's so funny because that moment could have happened to me like 3-4 years ago when people were like, oh, you're going to quit engineering and go into what? Marketing? How long have you been making videos? I don't know, like 3 years. Like, are you sure this is like, you think this is the right thing to do? Like that little devil, like the little, like, hey, bro,
yeah,
you haven't made it, or you haven't figured out how to do this yet. Is that really the move for you? Like, a lot of people just don't really get to that level, and maybe you're one of those, maybe that's okay. And to me, it was like, well, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna live and die by like you said, live and die by my own fucking choices, right? Like, Duke basketball, live and die by the three. Those boys will shoot 43s a game. They'll win a bunch, they'll lose a bunch, but they're going to play Duke fucking basketball.
Zero.
Zero
Confidence
fucks
never
given.
goes down.
No,
Ever.
no. V-Dog, bro, we've done an hour.
Already? Damn.
Yeah, I know. It flew by. We just keep talking after we record, I guess. But
Just shooting the shit.
yeah, just shooting the shit. Anything you want to plug that you're working on? FIFA content returning. I'm excited to see some of that back.
FIFA content, man. Honestly, this year with FIFA content, it's gonna be simple, man. I'm just gonna do what the fuck I want.
You've already been doing that. What do you mean?
No. But I'm taking no. But last year I did the whole daily upload thing for months, and it was a fucking grind. No. I'm gonna make one video a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. Nice, good, coherent video of my RTG, whatever it is, and that's that. I don't care if it gets 1 view. I'm done. Like, you know.
Done.
That's what's happening. That's what's happening. That's the plan.
All right. Well, what was streaming? Where can people drop some links? I'll drop some links, obviously, but let the people know.
Yeah, Stallion Sama, FIFA, and then I'll pop up on Twitch and whatever.
Beautiful. Thanks for being a friend, first and foremost, and then secondly for being a guest, most decorated guest.
Thank you for having me, man.